Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Going On Daily Live Morning Show. Woo! The best place, this is the best live morning show on social media. You just want to wake up, be with us for a while you get your day started, and you get some information, some laughs. Look, our buddy Captain Ron already has it titled. It's season 2, episode 111, if you can believe that, entitled Don't Want to Miss a Thing. So I don't want to miss introducing my wonderful co-host. This is Miss Lana Williams. Oop, Lana, I don't think we're hearing you. Not getting any audio on there. Hold on. Don't worry while you fix this. You keep on trying to fix that, and I'm gonna do the social media thing that we always do. Now, you want to check us out on Facebook. Oh, wait, I think I heard something. Lena?
Yep, I'm here.
There we go.
I have no
Lena.
idea. Technology, we were just talking about how great it is. So it bit me.
It's great until we go, what the hell is wrong with this thing? Right?
Exactly.
So we were doing our social roundup on Facebook. We're at Facebook at RI Broadcasting. As you can see below, on YouTube, we are at, spell it out now, Rhode Island Broadcasting. On Twitch, it's at RI_broadcasting. And of course, there's Patreon. Now, Patreon is special. If you don't know about it, that's where you can go and buy merch for us. And look at Ron. He's got us on all those social media. I don't even know what Kick is.
It is ubiquitous. It is, well, Kick is another app.
Apparently, and then there's Blue Sky.
Come on now, get with it,
I know. I got to do all my homework here. And he finally got us on X at Broadcasting RI. But I'm going back to Patreon because that's where you can get the merch. Good morning, Danny. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Danny.
I'm sure Danny is out there, and he knows that he can buy mugs, he can buy pens, he can buy stickers, he can buy lots of stuff with the Going On Daily logo.
Right.
And, people will see it and ask about it. You can tell them it's the best morning show on social media, right?
It is. It is. I'm so sorry. I'm making sure my audio is okay. You can still hear me.
That's okay.
Fantastic.
We want to hear you, and we want to hear from you. So if you guys comment, along with our stories, let us know what you think. Today's Saturday, June 14th. It is the day before Father's Day. Here's what we want you to know about. Now, first of all, it is Father's Day tomorrow, and I want to just give a little shout out, not to fathers, because when I was a snot-nosed brat kid, and I wanted to make my point to my father, I would sit there and I would call him that. Yes, father. But luckily, I had a dad. He was a dad, He went to work, came home, he played ball with me in the backyard. Well, we didn't have a backyard. We lived in a building. But, there was a grass area.
Yep.
And we went on vacations, and I had a dad. And I'm so happy that I grew up, and I have a wonderful daughter, and I was a dad. She calls me Super Dad. And I wear that as a badge of honor, knowing that I raised a child, and people will ask me, what's your favorite thing about your daughter? And there are so many things, but my favorite thing is I raised her to be a good person. And she is. Nobody you're going to hear the stories that we do and the weird thing. Oh, there's your puppy.
Yep. There he is, doing his thing.
So, to all the dads out there, I want to wish you a happy Father's Day. So, that's very simple.
Definitely.
And from then, I got a story. I'm going to start off. I have a scientific study that says people who, and I don't really understand it. We're going to dig into it. People who are more trusting live longer.
Yeah, that really doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
I'll agree with you on that.
You're sitting there. Here, take this pill. Trust me, you'll feel better. And
I mean, I think they're probably less stressed. I guess they're less stressed, but
yeah, maybe that's it. Let's see. The study was published in the Journal of Psychological Bulletin, found that well-being and trust reinforces your self-worth over time. Our findings show that the trust plays a key role with how happy you are and how satisfied you feel with yourself. And apparently, being happy is a key to living longer.
Now I
What do
can
you think?
understand that. I can understand that because all those chemicals, the brain chemicals that are good, the good ones, are good for relieving stress and introducing calm and things like that. Obviously, to me, where you would run into a problem is where you trust someone or you trust something that goes horribly wrong. Um, but
Don't pet that alligator. He's friendly. Go ahead.
yeah, like that kind of thing. Yeah, sure, you can go in that bear cage. Everything will be fine.
I've seen
But
Disney films. They're fine.
yeah, so but other than that, if everything works out for you, then I'm sure that it's probably very therapeutic.
Well, this study involved more than 2.5 million people from
Hmm.
age 6 to 84 all over the
Okay.
world. So
Okay.
they covered everybody.
That's good.
Uh, well-being in our study is both emotional experiences, like how you feel happy or sad,
Okay.
or whether they report anxiety or depressive symptoms, and
Okay.
how that rates to how you feel about your life and how happy you are. But I don't know, how do you take that, extrapolate that data, and go, I have a 6-year-old who's a little stressed. That
Hmm.
means he's not going to live 5 extra years? I don't even understand how that
Well,
would
do
work.
they do follow studies? I mean, those sometimes they do follow studies where
Huh.
they'll
It
find its subject at 6 and then they'll interview them over years. I mean, how
they took him
current
from 6 to 84. Then okay, I
maybe.
would go with that.
I don't know if it's 84, but they do sometimes 20 and 30 years out and projected studies and some
And
people
then they
and
put out a
that's it.
documentary that we watch. Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes that stuff's
uh,
cool. I love it.
I do like those.
Mm.
The research team found that people who trust more, whether it's trust in others or institutions or society in general, tended to
Mhm.
feel happier, more satisfied with life, and thus led to a longer life. Previous studies shown that supportive, healthy relationships are the key to well-being, and trust plays a central role in building and maintaining those connections. In
Hmm.
today's world, where media can both connect and mislead, safeguarding public trust is more important than ever. So now we're in a society where you look on social media
Mhm.
and people are lying because they're living their best lives out in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, everybody's a mess.
Mhm.
So who are you supposed to trust then?
I personally trust my pattern recognition and my research, and I mean that's how I do it. And there's certain people in my life, in my circle, that I've trusted over years because I've just known them really well. So it is hard to trust anybody, but there's certain things I think with analysis, critical discourse analysis, and rhetorical analysis, and things like that, that you can kind of suss out what
Pardon.
people are talking about and whether or not they're just trying to make themselves feel better or whatever. Um, it's work, though. Here's the thing with human beings: you have to do work. You have to make an effort. I know that's where most people hit the wall,
It is.
but it is. You have to build up your own little circle of
But I
people.
think here's the hard part to this, which is, say 5 people you trust, and
Hmm.
4 of them return the trust back, and something happens with that fifth person.
Hmm.
That's the one you're going to focus on to make you all of a sudden go, see, you can't trust anybody, even
Well,
though 4 people have
I,
proved you right.
I hope people aren't like that. I do know people that, as much as we're supposed to be a strong
Pardon?
society, I do know that there are people that will take one human being and apply it to everybody when it comes to friends, family, dating, whatever, and say, well, that's it. That's I think it's mostly people's inability to screen their own or suss out their own people around them to make sure that people are doing them right or their own whatever you want to call it, making sure that those people are not looking to harm them. Uh, so you kind of have to you have to do work. But if for the person that doesn't, that 1/5 person that doesn't do it, for
Right.
you the way it should be, you would talk. I would hope you would sit down with that person and address the issue. So I don't believe in just pointing at somebody and saying, "Oh, I expected this person to do something that I probably didn't tell them I expected from them, and they did something that hurt me, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm pretty sure I know why they did it." You should talk to that person. Now, if you talk to them and
Okay.
they tell you, "I don't really care," that's another story. But
Oh,
if you sit down and say,
unfortunately, you get
"Listen,"
that. Yeah.
that I don't know. I think that's how you influence yourself on that fifth person to like understand that not everybody, always does what you want, and maybe they had a reason or whatever. So
I've actually been in a conversation like that where it's, hey, can you meet me halfway? And that person blatantly looked at me and said, no, I
yeah,
don't want to. And I went, okay, well, goodbye. That's it.
right. And I personally believe that at least at least having your information, I just think it's good to just know. It may not be an answer you like, but at least if you have the answer the the honest answer, the direct answer, you can
Ooh.
do something with it.
Well, Danny, I'm
Yes.
very sorry about that. But,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm very sorry about that. Let me put you in a situation that actually happened to me.
Okay.
Uh, this past weekend,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, not this past week, I had missed my bus. I take a bus to a train to go to work.
Mm.
And I am in a new town. I just moved a little while ago, and I don't know the area. So I missed my bus, and I went, I got a half an hour. I'm going to walk around the town for a little bit and get to know
Okay.
it. Gentleman walked up to me, and I'm a friendly stray dog. I mean, I say hi to everybody and how are you, and
Yeah.
just let's put out the positivity. Well, there's a gentleman approaching me, and he's got a walking boot on, and he looks a little bit disheveled. And hi, hi, how are you, sir? He goes, do you know where the nearest church is? Well, I happen to
Mhm.
just walk by the church. It's right over there. He goes, that one doesn't have a soup kitchen. I need one with a soup kitchen. I said, I'm sorry, I'm new here. I'm,
Mhm.
and then I went to take a few steps away. Do you think you could help me, with a few bucks for a meal? And now,
Mhm.
unfortunately, I don't. I'm like most people. I have a credit card and my phone, which has I don't even have
Yeah.
time because I got to catch a bus. Is that? And it made me feel kind of sad for myself that should I have helped that person? Could I have helped that person?
Right.
What would you have done?
It depends on. I mean, if I had no time,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be anything I could do really, and especially not knowing anything. If I had time, I'd probably buy them a meal directly. That's usually what I would do. I wouldn't hand them
You're a good
money,
person.
but I'd try to get them somewhere and buy them a meal and have them sit down and eat or whatever. Even if I had time to sit down and find out who they are and how did they
Yep.
get where they are. I mean, what what WWJD, man. What would Jesus do?
So
So
then,
I
but
would.
what do you think? Out of just pick a hundred people, out of a
Mhm.
hundred people, how many people would think there's no way I don't trust this guy?
Probably a higher amount than is should be at this point in life. Um, Probably half at least
Oh
of the
wow.
people out there. I mean, I don't know. I can't even tell you for sure because I don't. I have no. You have no idea what anybody around you is going to do. So, what their
Hmm.
personal values are for that. Um, but I mean, I know people that actually leave their house, and these are people in Rhode Island, so I don't know how it is in every other area that have these like care
Ooh,
packs that they have in their car, and
really?
yeah, they just sort of have stuff in their
Oh,
car, like a little, stuff that won't spoil, crackers or just things like that that like they have in like a little care kit that if they see somebody they'll hand to. Like, listen, this is it's not a huge meal, but it's something.
oh my God, I'm going to do that now.
Yeah. I have a couple of
Never
friends
thought
that
of that.
literally just run soup kitchens all day, all night, or just go take 3 or 4 or 5 pizzas and work an area. Um, yeah. So I personally have more people around me that would do that, but I don't. The average person, I'm not sure. You know.
Uh,
Yeah. Good morning, Becky.
yes. Good morning, Becky. No, I'm just thinking. I'm like, oh, I wish I kind of lived closer to you guys now. so we could like do more good. I know people who
Yes.
give back to the community, and I try to help them. But the more good you put out there, the better. And apparently, according to this study, hey, you will live longer. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing to know. And if you live longer, you may get to see the next generation.
Absolutely.
And when the next generation comes along, you may not understand what they're saying, but Lena's going to help
No.
us out with that.
So, this is basically generational talk. Me and my crazy rabbit holes I go down.
I love them.
If anybody's a fan of the YouTube channel Mojo, you should check it out. Mojo does 10 top 10 lists on all kinds of crazy stuff. It's just like all they do. And so sometimes I just flip through Mojo. Hey, what are they doing a top 10 list on today or whatever? And I don't have a top 10 list. I'm just telling you they do top 10, top 15, whatever. And they did something on generations. And we have our usual generations that we know, like the stuff that's around us. Maybe
Good
because we're
morning,
so
Kenny.
good morning, Kenny, because we're so self-centered, I guess, about we're just talking about our particular little piece of generation that we know of, that we've grown up
Hmm.
and lived in, and that we experienced. However, Mojo did and I won't get into their particular list because it was so full of, it was a ton of information, and we don't have time for that. But they went into like generational stuff that was way before our time.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know if anybody knew of generations like that went back to the 1400s because we don't ever talk about those, right?
Wow.
Now, if you're a historical like fanatic, you probably do know this stuff. However, it might be interesting to you to look into some of these things further. So I'm going to actually just name them. I can't even tell you what all of them stand for because we honestly don't have that much time. But I can tell you what they are and in the order that they go, right?
Okay.
So starting in 1433, because they give us like the dates of the little range of the people and when they were born. The Arthurian generation. Now, have you heard of that? Right?
Well,
And
Knights
it's
of the
called
Round
the
Table, King Arthur kind of.
yeah, like late medieval seculum. That's the little category that this goes in. Arthurian is the first. That's 1433 to 1460.
Okay.
And then the humanist generation followed that. That's 1461 to 1482. And if you're a historical fanatic and you really know your history or you studied history, you have a degree in it, you may disagree with the dates a little bit because a lot of people change the dates a year or two depending on the list. The next one was the Reformation generation. That would have been 1483 to 1511. And the next one was the Reprisal generation. That's 1512 to 1540. Right? Is this crazy? I don't know. I just think
I
this is
had
so
never heard any
interesting.
of these.
Right. The Elizabethan generation.
Okay, that one, yeah.
Okay, that's 1541 to 1565. Then there was the Parliamentary generation, which was 1566 to 1587. Then there was the Puritan generation, which was 1588 to 1617. Then
Why so long?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like the Puritan generation was like sort of kind of around when we were discovering America.
Hmm. It's funny I'm asking you. So
Yeah,
300, 400 years ago, what did you think?
I know. Again, the historians, I guess, are just trying to narrow it down to whatever they thought or what those people believed in and how long they lived that kind of existence. Then after that was the Cavalier generation, 1618 to 1647, and it's actually I believe that like all generations kind of either come
Ooh.
from the one, well, both. They come from the generation before and they're trying to change something that they grew up with, right? And then they're trying to influence the generation after, and maybe their efforts to do what happened when they grow up to change that creates a generation that you know comes after it. So it's just interesting. Then after the Cavalier was the Glorious Generation, 1648 to 1673. I know nobody thought they were going to be doing social studies when they showed up today, did they? The Enlightenment generation, 1674 to 1700.
Heard of it. Okay.
Yeah. The Awakening generation, 1701 to 1723. Then the Liberty generation, 1724 to 1741. And
Okay.
then the Republican generation,
Ooh,
and
I mean,
for
yeah.
yeah, 1742 to 1766, and meaning at that time that meant democracy, and
Yes.
um, compromise generation, 1767 to 1791. And then the transcendental generation. Isn't this crazy that all this is in here? I
I
never took
know.
this much of a detailed history class in college, but I bet you they went through all this. Transcendental was 1792 to 1821. The
Hmm.
Gilded generation, which that's probably one of the first generations that I understood. The Gilded
Right.
generation was um, what they say that we're repeating now, actually. Gilded generation was 1822 to 1842. The Progressive generation, 1843 to 1859. Then the Missionary generation, 1860 to 1882.
No jokes, please.
Yeah, I know. It it actually meant mission meant project,
Missions,
or
right.
yes, it
Going on
actually
missions.
meant yes. Lost generation, 1883 to 1900. And that might be
Yes.
maybe the first one you've heard of.
Yes.
And then after that come all the ones we know. The Greatest Generation, 1901 to 1927. Those were my grandparents. Most of those people went through the Great Depression.
Hmm.
The Silent Generation, 1928 to 1945. And that would be my mom. My mom was right on the cusp of 1945. She was born at the end of that year.
Yeah, so was mine. Yeah.
Yep. Baby boomers, 1946 to 1964.
My sister. Yeah. My
And then,
older sister.
yep. And some of my older friends that were born in the late 50s. And then Generation X, which is us, right?
Hmm.
And they're saying 1965 to 1981. I think it's 1980, but it's like splitting hairs.
Yeah. I've seen different lists on that as well.
And then I love this. They call it Zennials, the Oregon Trail generation, which cracks me up.
Oregon
This list
Trail.
that I'm reading has that in it, and I laugh because it's like the Oregon Trail. Like everybody had like that little 8 disc that they stick it and play the Oregon Trail for like hours.
Hmm.
That was 1977 to 1985, and
And
that
the most self-hating ones, by the way. I've never
really
seen more people. I have plenty of
for
friends who are
Zennial.
millennials. Yep, I have plenty of friends, and if you tell them, "Oh, you're a millennial," as a millennial, they sit there and they go, "No, I'm different." I'm like,
Well,
"Okay,
I guess that's
okay,
true.
whatever you say."
I mean, Zennials is like that overlap, that Venn diagram of like part Gen X, part millennial.
Yeah.
So and then they call millennials, which is Gen Y. I've always gotten confused with the Ys and the Zs and the this and that. That's supposed to be 1982 to 1996.
Hmm.
And then the Homelanders generation, Gen Z.
Oh, I was gonna say I never heard the Homelanders. I've heard Gen
I guess
Z.
like
Yeah.
they just that's their official name,
Yep.
1997 to 2011.
That's my
And
kid.
then
Yep.
Gen Alpha, which is Gen A, 2012 to present. And then I saw somewhere that anything from 2025 on would be the beta generation, which makes sense, I guess.
It does, but how would you like? You're already born and you're a beta. You know,
I
you're a
know.
follower. You're,
I
yeah.
guess. I never understood the Greek alphabet stuff,
I
especially
know.
coming out of the red pill community, is basically what I would call it. And the guy that it's if you're a weirdo researcher like me, the guy that came up with all that was a guy that was trying to categorize wolves in the wild. And that guy has several times come out and debunked his own theory on that and said, "Never mind. I don't, I studied this, I did this, whatever. That alpha, beta, sigma thing isn't true. It's not when it comes to
Huh.
wolves." And so, but human beings just took it and ran with it. You can't get them to stop doing it, which
Yeah.
is probably pretty typical of us, right? But so those are all the generations. And then if like you kind of look up, I think generations from the 1400s, they will actually give you a pretty good wiki has a good description of like what each generation stood for, what their mission was or what their goal was for their particular range, what they were trying to do for what they were trying to change from their parents and their elders, what they were trying to do for their children. And it's a really, really long list with a lot of stuff in it. So I won't get into that now, obviously. But if you get a chance to say, it's really fascinating.
It kind of is.
Um, I thought it was. So yeah, that's the list of generations coming all the way up to where we are now, which is pretty
And
cool.
Becky was saying that the generations that followed her screwed up
Hmm.
so bad that it made millennials be okay with millennials, and that's pretty much how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I was caught yesterday, and in a generational, I don't know how I want to put it, between generations. I thought it was interesting. Like I
Hmm.
said, I'm going back to the train, and the train is just everybody has to take the train if you're going to work.
Right.
Because it's summer and I'm in New York, I got on a train where there were four friends in their 20s. There was no mistaking they were in their 20s, how they dressed, how they spoke.
Okay.
And they were talking, they had their backpacks and they're going out to the Hamptons and they were talking about drinking, having fun and all that stuff. And it was this is their 20s. And I
Right.
got out of the train, and there is a Met game going on. The train goes there, and there are people in their jerseys screaming, yelling, and drinking on the train. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's your 20s. Boy,
Yeah.
I kind of missed that time in my life. Then I go and I'm waiting for my bus again,
Hmm.
and there are two people there who were having a conversation who are in their 70s. And how do I know that? Because they kept saying it. I'm in my 70s now, and this is my problem. And what's wrong with the younger generation? And this and that hurts, and the other. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I may not be that,
Right.
but I'm not that either.
Right. Of course not. Yep. You're like right in the middle. Well, not right in the middle.
A little closer to the 70s than I am the 20s right
Right.
now, but
Right.
not by much.
Not by
And
much.
that's just it. Eventually, no matter what generation you are, you're going to go through all these little stages
Right.
of your life.
I
So
mean, I
enjoy them all.
studied music, and then we'll of course segue into today's topic from Ira. But studying music in my like tech degree and finding out where music comes from, and then there's actually a point in time in your life where in the beginning, as you're a child, you listen to whatever it is that you're watching on TV, whether it be public
Hmm.
television or whatever, and you're listening to stuff in the car, and you're listening to mostly like a top 40 mix of everything. You kind of cross over
Yes.
listen because you're in the car mostly with your parents or whatever. And then right around 12 or 13, there's this thing where you're trying to break away from everything that your parents are doing, and you either break hard right or you break hard left. And right now, at least, I don't know actually with this generation because the music is different, but it was either like really hard rap or really hard rock. You would go one way or the other, and then you kind of would come back into the middle. And what you think is the best music in your life is typically the music you hear in your high school years. And then somewhere around 21, 22,
Probably.
and I studied this as a DJ, so that's
Yeah.
probably not interesting to anybody, but 21, 22 is kind of where you break off and decide that's what your literal taste is. Somewhere between 21 and 22 is where you really solidify whatever it is that you
Okay.
are going to listen to until you're 50 and say, that's the best music. There's been nothing since that's been. So as much as everybody, and then of course your parents, no matter what generation you are, your parents think your music is absolutely horrible, and will tell you
Oh,
that. How
absolutely.
can you
Of
listen to
course.
that? That's just noise. I don't understand. And so like I can remember my mother listening to that from my grandmother when she was trying to
Yeah.
listen to Motown. My grandmother thought that was crazy, and wanted to know,
Love
why.
Motown.
Yeah, I wanted to know like why Frank Sinatra wasn't a great. And my mother was like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, I grew up on the Lawrence Welk show.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
I did. I had to sit and listen to that with my grandmother, and I thought it was the most boring thing in the world when I was a kid. But it's a kind of a cool memory when you think about it.
Oh,
When
absolutely.
you're
You were
sitting around.
exposed to something different.
So and then at that, and so every generation, uh, what's that Mike and the Mechanics tune?
Every generation blames the one before.
Right. So well, that's more of a social thing, obviously, but it reminds me of just like the movie never ends. It goes on and on, right? It always changes. It's just a matter of who the people are and what the music is. But it it devolves. So it devolves to
Yep, he's
your
right. Living
elders,
years.
and it evolves to your children, and so um,
Uh,
it's all a big pattern. And as much as you think it's personal to you, it isn't. You're just part of the machine. You know?
well, I think this is going to be a chat for another time.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I think, especially you've made music your life.
Yeah.
There's got to be parts of each. I don't want to call it even generation, but I guess you kind of have to iteration
Hmm.
of period of music
Yep.
where you can cherry pick. I hate this music, but that song's good.
Right.
That song's
Right.
good, and
Right.
you can move on, right?
And you can't like I think that probably DJs and musicians and stuff. We have to you have to take us out of there because we're not looking at stuff like the average listener does.
Yeah.
So we can hear a song in our 40s and go, oh, this is a really great band, and still have that open mindedness about it. Whereas some people are just like, no. I mean, I've met people who decided Aerosmith was the band they liked, and that's it. And if you play anything else but Aerosmith, you know, it's there are people who are very narrow minded like
Wow.
that. I think that's so weird, but they pick a band that reminds them of their childhood years, their teens, their high school years, whatever, just something about their youth, and they
Wow.
stick to it and cling to it, and then they'll tell you, you know, everything that happened after that is just absolutely terrible and sucks, and you're kind of like, no, that's not true, like
No, absolutely not.
so.
You got to find it, but there's going to be songs for everybody
There's
out there.
always, yeah, and then of course we live in a generation, I think now, where everything everybody's listened to now is stuff that everybody else we already listened to. All the music now is just a repeat of the
Hmm.
generations before, and our music and our movies as Gen X is all remakes of stuff in the 50s and the 60s and the 40s, and
Yeah, I know. Nobody
you
has any
know
original ideas.
nothing's
I
original, and
know.
so it's just so funny that my sister at one point, it's just a joke, my sister was born in 78. And
Hmm.
she had, first of all, the whole Bohemian Rhapsody thing that happened with the Wayne's World movie. She thought that was
Yeah.
a new song, and we went back and forth about it. I'm like, this is not a new song. This song's older than you are. It's just older than you are. I don't know what to tell you. And
Oh
she
my
actually
God.
thought, um, uh, can't touch this. She actually thought that was something that Rick James stole, and I had to like explain to her, no, Rick James is the original artist of that song, and then MC Hammer took this song and like made another one. So you know everything when you're young. You think you know everything.
Uh-huh.
You can't. Nobody can talk to you. So it's just
My
funny.
friends told me, so it must be true.
Yeah. So it's just funny to watch people and how they react to music and how they live with it and everything like that. But what I want to know about is
Hmm.
I want to slow it down, Ira. I want you to tell me about the slower songs. You got anything there for me on that?
I think. Oh, thank you. Very good segue for that.
Let's
the
slow it down.
80s, the 80s, and a little bit of the 90s.
Hmm.
There was something called the power ballad.
Yeah.
Something you like. For us, you'd remember. Now that's what I call music. Power ballads. They give
Yes.
you. That's when now we even tried to describe this. Ron was on with us, and I said, "Well, what do you call a power ballad?" So, Lena, how would you describe a power ballad?
I mean, I think that the quintessential definition of power ballad is like somebody like Whitesnake, who sings what I forget what their slow song was,
Here I go
but it's
again.
just no, to me, Here We Go
It's
Again is
not a
actually
power
kind of
ballad. Yeah.
fast. It's not really slow, but
Oh, is it love? Would
yeah,
that be
Is
the
This
power ballad
Love?
from then?
Or like I do not like the Scorpions. I just don't like the Scorpions. I'm sorry, Germany. I don't like them. Um,
Oh,
but
hit
they
me.
did that Winds of Change song that like made me want to jump out of a window for so many years.
But it made you feel something. Suicidal, but it made you
Yes.
feel
Oh,
something.
just the whistle in the beginning of that song, I would actually sit there and like I'd have like a like what do you call it, a sensory breakdown over that stupid
Oh my
whistle that would
God.
start. Anyway, but there was a point in time where it got played that much, so you can understand. Yeah, Winds of Change was the thing. I liked the Scorpions, but that did it for me. I couldn't take it after that.
Oh,
But yeah, like at some point to me a power ballad is at some point every band has to do this to hit this particular type of crossover in their audience.
Yep.
So like Def Leppard had one, and Journey had one, and just something where it doesn't necessarily have to be rock and roll, but it has to be, hey, you've done this fast song, you've done this, this, and this. You have to hit this particular category so that you can bring in new listeners to the rest of the category.
I have a list that was put out by was it rockandrollintelligence.com, I think it is.
Okay.
Of the top power ballads in rock history. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a different one. It's ultimateclassicrock.com. I want to give them credit so that if you don't like the list, it ain't on me. Now, hopefully, Becky and Kenny and Ron and Danny and whoever else is out there, let us know. Comment on what should be on this list as we go down the top 20. Now, I don't know. Should I name the band or should I name the song and you name the band? How do you want to do this?
I guess it's totally up to you, because some bands had more than one. So.
Oh yeah, there's going to be on here. Unfortunately, Lana, I'm very sorry, but number 20 is The Winds Have Changed My
Sure it is. I'm sure it is, because everybody. But that's why it was so annoying to me, because everybody in the world, like cult followers, thought that was the best song ever.
God.
Okay, that's fair. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not a good song.
Now, number 1 on this list, and Ron, I want you to. Ron said that it just had to have guitars, which, Ron, I'm sure you have more of an opinion on that.
Right.
But number 1, everybody I've done this list with and said, what do you think the number 1 power ballad is? This, I am in so much disagreement with number 1 because this person, it's not a power ballad, but we're going to get to that. What do you think, Lana, would be number 1 on a power ballad list?
I don't know. I'd have to.
I know there are so many to choose from.
I know. Oh my goodness. I mean, again, I don't necessarily think a power ballad has to be rock and roll.
Good.
Maybe some Nilsson. No, that's probably too old. I already kind of know what it might be. But yeah, I don't know. I would think Ron saying Do Anything or 2 out of 3 by Meatloaf. And yeah,
2 out of 3. Meatloaf is on the list, but not for that song.
Okay. Yeah, I even Never Tear Us Apart was a great tune, or even
Never Tear Us Apart.
Yeah, NXS. I was a Hutchins fan all the way, or something like maybe not Open Arms by Journey, although that's probably what everybody else would say.
Journey is on this list, I believe, top 23 times.
I'm sure.
3 times.
I'm sure.
So let's go through the list. I'm going to give you the band, and you see if you can name the song. Anybody out there, feel free to chime in. Number 19 is from Poison.
Do you Every Rose?
Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Very good.
Yeah, I'm going to know all these because I played this stuff so much.
I was going to say, you're the perfect person for this.
I don't think Faithfully is Journey. Isn't that just the...
Faithfully is Journey, and it is number Journey? 12.
Okay.
That's one of the Journey hits.
We're jumping. I didn't mean to jump ahead.
No, that's okay. I asked you if you know any. Number 18, Phil Collins. Now, to me, if you said Genesis, I would say, okay, band who sings, a love song, kind of rockish, power ballad. But no, it's Phil Collins.
Please tell me it's In the Air Tonight and not anything else. Is it One More Night?
Nope.
Or is it Separate Lives? No, that would be Marilyn.
Everyone brings that up.
Well, I'm a Phil Collins fan, so I kind of know a lot of his stuff.
It's from a movie, but it was not.
Probably Against All Odds. Is it?
Bingo. Yeah. You got it. Against All Odds.
Becky got that one.
Oh, yeah. I'm not seeing the comments. Damn it. Sorry.
There was a time. I got to stop and talk to Becky for a minute. Becky, remember when there was a time where like 5 out of every top 10 for like years was a Phil Collins tune? It was like if you listen to pop radio, you would hear every like 3 or 4 minutes or every 10 minutes would be some Phil Collins tune. Because between Genesis and his own personal stuff, you would and also his collaborations like Easy Lover and things like that, you would hear, yes, Phil the Overkill, but I
Phil
didn't care.
Overkill.
I did not care. That's the one guy that I went and took myself to see by myself on my birthday in like the 80s.
Oh.
That was the guy that I paid $80 for one ticket and just drove by myself to go see because I loved him. I still love him. Anyway,
yeah, the fact that he can't perform anymore is kind of
I know.
a bummer.
Yep. Yeah.
Number 17. Oh, let me go down. 17. You hit the other one. It's Open Arms.
Okay.
But number 16, and I think you'll get this right away. What do you think of when I say the band Boston?
Ooh, there's a couple, but probably More Than a Feelings. That's everybody's tune.
Bingo. See, I knew you'd be the one to get all these.
Yeah.
Okay, so far, we're
I was going to
okay.
say Amanda too, but probably not. Yeah. Ron.
Amanda. Yeah, I had a crush on a girl named Amanda. Played that song for her. Yeah.
The mixtape.
That's what you do.
The mixtape, the tribute.
Yep.
Love it.
Here's one. So a few months ago, my dad said, got to go to the Genesis tribute concert. Oh, yes. I love Peter Gabriel.
No, early Genesis is definitely not pop, but it's the best.
No. It is.
Yeah.
So many iterations of Genesis. We should do a top 10 Genesis list.
I know.
Let's see. Number 15, I'm not so sure. I don't understand how this got in the category, but it's Bonnie Tyler. And it's not.
No, Greatest Eclipse, Total Eclipse was a big thing.
It was, but I don't know.
It was power ballady. It had guitars. It had an orchestra in it.
The slow down version.
They literally had. I think in that movie they literally had like a chorus or a bunch of church choir or literally a bunch of children singing in the background of that video.
Really?
Just like a.
Oh, in the video,
yes. Choir,
video.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I remember.
It was very.
I thought you were going to say in the studio.
No. But I mean, I don't know if she may have done something like that because there was literally a bunch of children as a choir singing in the background of that. And so, or maybe not. Maybe maybe they made it look like that in the video, but no, I don't know the Dan Band version of Total Eclipse. I don't think I've ever heard it. I do know.
Yeah. If you've ever seen, I want to say Hangover.
Oh, okay.
Got a lot of cursing in it, as usual.
No, that was a good movie. I remember that. But
let's see how you do on this one. What do you think of when I say number 14, Warrant?
They had
Cherry Pie.
I know. They had a slow tune, and honestly, I really wasn't a Warrant fan, so I honestly don't remember it. You got me on that one.
Okay, does anybody wait? Oh, Ron knows it's Heaven.
Yeah,
Heaven isn't too far away. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's see if you can do this one then. Okay. Mr.
Oh, listen, I graduated in 1986. I think one of those was my prom tune or our theme song. So it's either going to be Broken Wings.
It is Broken Wings. Kiri. Oh, it is. Wait, what was the second?
Kiri. Yeah, that was kind of a slow tune.
I do love that.
Yeah, we had both of those within I think the same chart in '86, whatever.
I believe so.
Then that was it. Then they went away. We never saw them again.
Yep.
Yeah.
They are mentioned in Train's version of Soul Sister. Is that Mr. on the radio stereo?
Oh, I don't even think I know what that is. Wow.
It's probably the only because people go, what is this Mr. I'm like, you don't know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, number 12, Journey's on the list again. Take a shot.
Lights.
Nope.
Wheel in the Sky.
This would have been a definite prom one. This would have been you're staring at your date and slow dancing.
Did we already say Open Arms?
We did Open Arms.
Wait. Then maybe Faithfully.
Bingo. See, okay. I knew you would come up. I actually thought Ron would come up with it first.
Yeah, Lights is my tune, Ron, man. I love that song. Although, I don't know. I love a lot of their stuff. But Lights is probably my favorite slow song by them. It's
Number 11,
Mhm.
REO Speedwagon.
Oh, probably Can't Fight This Feeling because that's what everybody loved. But
I do agree with you, but that's not it.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm drawing a blank. That's crazy. Just tell me.
Keep on loving you.
Okay. All
It's
right.
the only thing I want to do. Now
Yeah.
we're in the top 10, and we
That's
have
definitely
Brian
prom
Adams.
song for us. Yes.
Oh, God, was it?
Listen, Brian has to be heaven. What else did he
You
do?
are correct. And
I
by the
mean,
way,
for a
there is a
ballad.
better version out there by a female singer
Yeah.
who I can never get her name.
I'll give it to you. I don't have it in front of me. But
Oh,
was it?
yes, send that to me.
But is it a slow song? Because when I was out in the
Yes.
clubs, there was a dance group that did Heaven, and they did it fast. They did it like 136 or something, and that's what I think. That's what I thought you meant. So maybe you're thinking of something different.
Well, no, it's the same version that they have a club version, then they have just the slowed down version without all the club beats.
Okay.
Ron says, anything I do for you, but no, Lena got it right.
Yeah, and what was that from? Wasn't that from Willow
Robin
Hood. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
Yes.
Oh boy,
the Kevin Costner one.
Yeah, I didn't like a lot of his stuff.
Number 9 was from Night Ranger.
Oh, it's got to be Sister Christian. What else did they do?
Of course it is.
That's the only thing I remember
Becky,
from them.
Sheriff, When I'm With You was my wedding song. Oh my God. My husband picked it, and I love 80s, so it was down. Then he told me it's from the Joe Dirt soundtrack.
Yeah, that's so funny. Sheriff. I love that song. That was such a great tune.
I remember that one. There's a bunch of stuff from like Sheriff Lone Star has a few, and that I really love. But okay, now we're on number 8, Meatloaf, and it wasn't what you mentioned before. It's not Dashboard.
Well, it wouldn't be Dashboard. That's fast.
Right.
So we had 2 out of 3.
It's not 2 out of 3. So
we
now you have the third option.
Wait.
I guess it won't do that.
Yeah,
okay,
I can't.
I'll move on.
Wait yeah, I can't. Yeah, we're going through too many artists, so you're gonna have to.
People gave you. I just gave you the biggest clue.
Oh, I would do anything for love.
But I won't do that.
I hate the lyrics of the song. It just doesn't even make sense. Get out of here.
Well, it's a joke. I mean,
I know.
Come on.
It just never made any sense. I know.
Okay. See, he said that one earlier. Number 7 is from Aerosmith, and you could be here all day choosing, so we're not going to do that. Number 7 is Dream On. It is. Which is one of my favorite songs of all time. But there was a period in the 90s, the Pump album, where they just literally pumped out power ballads. So it could be any of those.
Definitely.
Here's one I wouldn't expect, but I think you're going to know it. Coming in at number 6 is Motley Crue.
Home?
Come on. Home Sweet Home.
Yeah.
You see it on commercials?
Sorry, I have little truncated versions of stuff, so I don't say the whole title. I just call it.
Oh, that's okay.
By one name half the time.
Ron got it too. 5 is Foreigner.
Oh, well, probably there was a couple of those actually that Luke ran.
There were.
But probably I Want to Know What Love Is.
Bingo, you both got it. Congratulations.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there we go. Ron's got it.
Number 4 is Journey for the final time.
Oh, Lord.
What Journey songs haven't you mentioned yet?
Sherry. No, that's not him. That's him.
That's Steve Perry, yeah.
No, Siri. Not you. Anyway, you know what? Yeah, just tell me.
If you get a bunch of people in a room, and this song comes on, they're all going to start singing together.
Oh, yeah. That's not a slow song, is it?
It is not at all, which is why we're getting there.
Don't Stop Believing is not a slow song.
I agree with you.
Okay, I wouldn't even have thought of that. Let me stop you real quick. DJ Sammy and Yanu, that's the people that did Heaven. So if that's what you're talking about.
What is it?
DJ Sammy.
DJ DJ Sammy.
If that's
Got it.
that's the only I only knew the fast one, but that's
Oh, I will find it from there.
DJ
Thank
Sammy
you.
and Yanu. That's YANOU. That's the guy that I think was the producer on that. So
Thank you. I
Yep.
like that. Number 3, Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses would have to be Patience. I mean,
Nope. I
what?
love Patience. Nope.
Uh
There's one epic, very long song that
oh
repeats
God.
itself over,
Off that
and
double
Ron got
album,
it.
November Rain.
November Rain. Yes.
It's the song about the chick that he was with and they fought and blah 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 and all that. Wasn't it that model he was dating? Yeah.
And they just keep repeating it
I can't
over
believe
and
that's so
over.
high. I honestly would have went with Patience first.
Becky got it too. November Rain.
Yeah.
There are so many things you should have put on there. Number 2 is from Heart, and I think almost every song in the '80s from Heart was.
No, not really.
This one stands alone. So
There you go. Alone.
there you go.
That was my
And
80,
number 1.
Yep.
Before we do number 1, I want to know where Skid Row "I Remember You" is on this list.
Man, but when I was such a Bass fan, so that I just have to say that video kicked me into like some serious overdrive on my puberty. That was an overdrive puberty moment for me. How many times I watched that video, but oh my God, I absolutely love Sebastian Bach. Whoa. Oof.
And
he did some stupid stuff later on, but
oh no, he absolutely did. But his voice is insane.
Right.
Don't know what you got till it's gone. Oh, that's a good one, Ron. I had that one, and I also have, and I hate the band for what they became, but I like the song. Starship, not Jefferson Airplane, not Jefferson Starship.
They went through some changes. Yeah.
Some over and over.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's a Kiss one that went. Oh, Beth probably could have been on the list.
Yeah. There was a whole a documentary or something where they sat down and talked about how they had to create a song and they were asked to do like a ballad for their list. And they created a song, and I think Gene Simmons wrote that song for someone else in the band's wife, because of whatever the touring schedule they had and whatever. That was supposed to be a joke, but it actually turned out to become a big hit at some point.
And Becky, I do remember Sebastian Bach on the reality show with Ted Nugent where they formed a band. That was the weirdest thing ever.
Love Bites is a great tune.
Okay, number 1. Oh, Styx. Styx has so many on there that you could be here all day with that. I like that one too.
Right.
But number 1, according to UltimateClassicRock.com, the top power ballad of all time is from Prince.
Prince, you have to put him in a rock category sometimes. He actually did have a rock. He did a lot of rock tunes. He crossed over a lot.
Oh, I love Prince.
I don't know. I'm sure you're going to say Purple Rain because that's the only thing anybody ever remembers. But he had a lot of really good tunes. If anybody gets a chance to look up International Lover, well, now there's a slow song for you. If you're going to add it to your sex tape, man, it's a good one.
Wait. There are tapes now for this?
No, but everybody, makes that little list that they put together for their nighttime activities. You throw International Lover right on there. It's really good, and to some degree, you could probably throw Nikki on there too, although it's not that slow. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm shocked that people didn't throw on When Doves Cry. But
no, well, that's fast. It's 122 beats per minute.
Well, not all of it. You know the beats per minute.
I know the beats per minute of everything. I have to. Even slow stuff. Yep.
So if you have any disagreement, contact UltimateClassicRock.com because that is their list of the top 20. And now we're going to go from that to something.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't have to go anywhere. I think we're wrapping it up. Isn't it like the end of the hour?
No, we're allowed to go over.
I know.
This is Lana and Ira.
We should probably try to, at some point, hit our marks at some point, some weekend.
I did that once, and it was like, okay, we're cutting everything off. You have a knack for giving us titles of segments and having us go, I have no idea what this is. So we need to do that.
Yes. I thought this was funny. I'm kind of interested in brain activity and in intelligence in human beings. And so uh, I did a study, or actually, I think I found this like randomly in my crazy research. In 1923, lead was first added to gasoline to help keep car engines healthy, which everybody probably knows if they have any
Right? Let it in
history
that legend. Yeah.
on energy. However, automobiles' health came to the greatest expense of our own well-being. Right. So a new study calculates that exposure to car exhaust from leaded gas during childhood stole a collective 824 million IQ points from more than 170 million Americans alive
What?
today. And that's pretty much half the population of the United States. Right?
So we're all dumber because of gas? Because of
Right.
leaded
Like,
gas?
think about how much, like, you got to figure before they put any kind of lead fuel regulations in place, think about how much we
Hmm.
were just walking around reading that stuff, especially in our own driveways and big inner cities and stuff like that, right? Just like, and we had lead paint too.
Yep.
It wasn't the only place we were getting it. But anyway, the findings from Aaron Rubin, he's a PhD candidate in clinical psychology at Duke University,
Okay.
colleges at Florida State University as well, suggest that Americans born before 1996 be at greater risk for lead-related health problems, such as faster aging of the brain, right?
Hmm.
Leaded gas for cars was banned in the U.S. in 1996, but the researchers say that anybody born before and living before the end of that era, and especially those at the peak of its use,
Hmm.
1960s and 70s, which we know, I mean,
Yeah.
um, concerningly high lead exposures happened as children. So
Oh boy.
you might have been smarter. We might have been smarter uh, people in the 60s and 70s had we not dealt with that. And of course, how many things go on in the U.S. where like we all do damage and then go, "Oops, I guess that wasn't good." It's not a new thing for us, right? The team's paper appeared the week of March 7 in the Journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Lead is a neurotoxic and can erode brain cells after it enters the body. And as such, there's no safe level of exposure at any point in life. Health experts, are saying young children are especially vulnerable to lead's ability because they're still dealing with brain development, right? And when we were kids, our brains were not cooked fully yet at that time.
Right.
Unfortunately, no matter what age, our brains are ill-equipped for keeping it at bay.
Oh,
So it's
geez.
saying lead is able to reach the bloodstream once it's inhaled as dust or ingested or consumed in water. And we have to remember we were drinking water out of hoses and we didn't care where our
Hmm.
water was coming from at one point. And I think some of us were around before fluoride. I can't remember when fluoride went into water, but
I
sometimes
don't remember
they
that either.
filtered out fluoride in water, and there was a point in time when we didn't have that.
We were
Um,
the dangerous generation.
right. I mean, Rubin said this in
Oh,
the
geez.
bloodstream, it's able to pass into brain through a blood brain barrier, which is quite good at keeping a lot of toxicants and pathogens out of the brain, but not all of them. So it was one way it's been highly able to invade bloodstreams is through automotive exhaust, which we all
Oh,
breathe.
geez.
And we just, I could just, when you think about how much crap we were breathing in the early 80s, the 70s, so, how leaded to sort of answer the complex question of how leaded gas used for more than 7 years may have left a permanent mark. Rubin and his co-authors, Michael McFarland and Matthew Hauer, both professors of sociology at Florida State University, opted for a fairly simple strategy
Hmm.
using publicly available data on U.S. childhood blood lead levels, leaded gas use, and population statistics, and they cross-referenced all of that.
You're right, Ron. Standing in front of a bus back then would have
Oh
been
God, yeah.
death.
Like, think about it. If you were dealing with public transit and you didn't drive, like, it was probably way worse
Oh,
to be standing
imagine.
around on corners waiting for, like, I mean, everything used that, right?
But it's funny, you were talking about leaded gas, and all I could think about is, okay, my father's smoking, windows up,
That was, yeah,
and
see, that,
that was what you did.
I
You
know.
know?
So it was definitely not the only thing that was putting damage to our brains for by a
Oh
long
yeah.
shot, but it was a big one that we probably weren't thinking of at the time, right?
Oh my
Um,
God.
so they determined the likely lifelong burden of lead exposure carried by every American alive in 2015. From this data, they estimated the lead's assault on our intelligence by calculating IQ points lost from leaded gas exposure to a proxy for its harmful impact on public health. So that was a really cool study that they did, and they used all that information to compile it together. As of 2015, more than 170 million Americans are dumber over this. They're just dumber. So if you're a smart person, just think you could have been way so much smarter.
And when you meet a stupid person, go, it's not their fault. It was gas.
Very true. But let's remember our environmental stuff. Let's remember what what happens, what kind of repercussions we could be dealing with from stuff that we're doing.
Hold on. There you go. Yeah, my dog's whining.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Hey, Teddy. Right by my side again.
Yeah. I just thought that was a really interesting study, and a correlation between lead gas and IQ is just interesting.
Oh my God. Just think, 50 years from now, there's going to be some study saying, because they were carrying all those tablets all those years, there's something into our fingers. And
yep, I think they're already saying that. They're already saying stuff like that. So,
it's scary what we were exposed to.
Play now, pay later for us. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, man. So, did we end this on a good note? Or are we all?
We did, as far as if you were born after 1996, you're going to be a whole lot safer, but there's not much we can do about it at this point. I just thought that was an interesting study. I don't think there's like a solution to it.
Yeah, so basically, if you're in our generation, what we would tell you now is walk it off, rub some dirt on it. And stop whining about it, because you can't do anything about it now.
Yep, it's permanent damage. It's sad but true.
I think Ron may have hit it. Social media is today's leaded gas.
I betcha, and it's definitely psychologically damaging for sure.
Well, I actually wonder what that does, because I see people who, and this has been talked about, different physical manifestations of doing this, with hurting your thumbs.
Yeah.
The way your neck now, most people are hunched over like this.
Yeah.
If you do that long enough, there are going to be changes.
I mean, carpal tunnel to me is like almost like it probably existed previous to computers, but that's like really where we got that. It's almost like a computer specific injury that, people that are just sitting in offices with mice all day, click, 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 click. That's something that came from that. So it can't possibly, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that's going to be following that as far as what we're doing with our physical movements.
I'm just thinking of people who used to, like when the first computer jobs were out there, and people who were outside doing manual labor going, you wuss, you're never going to get hurt doing that. Oh, no, I can. I can hurt myself in a number of many ways.
Oh, you can hurt yourself doing anything if you do it long enough.
There you go. Well, hey, hopefully we won't get hurt, the longer we do this show, because, we're just here to help you.
Right.
And as you can see on the screen, Monday you're going to have Becky and Ron. And they're going to bring you probably another top 5 list that I can't wait to see. Becky's going to tell us, about Canada, which I like learning about. I really do. So, different places. So, on behalf of Lana and myself, I want to thank you for hanging out with us. Why don't you give some plugs? I'm very sorry about this.
No, that's okay. So if you go to www.lanaanddave.com, you will hear my podcast with my late partner, David Vaccaro, who we just lost this week. So, but it's probably a good 80 hours of information, and it's actually really good. It's really helpful. We had a good time, and so in his honor, if everybody could go and listen to that, that'd be great. And then that's basically the only podcast I had going on there for a while. And then just Lana Lee Williams on Facebook, and I've got a TikTok at DJ Lana Williams. And take it away. What have you got for a podcast there?
I've got the Circling the Drain podcast. We have a podcast about nothing. It'll make you feel better about your life as we talk about things that Stupid people do, but now we know it's because of the leaded gas, maybe.
See, there you go. Now you have a reason.
So he has on the screen youtube.com /CTD podcast. But if you put in the Circling the Drain podcast on social media, you will find us. Again, like I said, join us here on Monday when you're going to have Becky and Ron. And remember, happy Father's Day. And if you need some fun, join us because we've got it going on daily. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.